Congratulations on your accepted offer. The transaction process has officially begun. The very first step that I'm going to be doing is delivering the seller disclosures. And those were all of the yes, no, or unknown questions that you had about the condition of your home. From the date of delivery, they're going to have 5 business days to review those seller disclosures and determine if they're still ready to move forward with the purchase of your home. 99.9% of the time, a buyer is going to continue to move forward as they're going to be getting full home inspections to really find out the condition of the property. In addition to delivering the seller disclosures, we're going to open escrow. What does open escrow mean? Well, it means that we're going to get the escrow officer who we are working with, which is an individual at a title company who is going to be facilitating our transaction. The escrow company is going to be the one who is going to be collecting the buyer's earnest money deposit and actually stays deposited at the escrow company until they've received mutual instructions from both the buyer and the seller as to how to disperse those funds. For example, if the buyer finds something on the inspection report and decides really this isn't going to be the home for them, that is one of the buyer contingencies, and they're going to have the right to receive that earnest money back. Now, let's say we're right towards the end of closing, loan documents are there, and there's really no contingencies left for that buyer. That earnest money would be forfeited and delivered to the seller if they were to not perform on the closing of that property. Once we've opened escrow, the title officer is going to be looking up everything that's affiliated with this particular property. So any easements, loans, CC&Rs, or taxes, perhaps even tax liens, and anything that has been attached to this property. The buyer and the seller are going to receive a preliminary title report which discloses all of these findings. A buyer then has the opportunity to review this title report and make sure that they are okay with everything that they see that this property has. Now, if in the review of the preliminary title report they find that there's nothing surprising or concerning with what was found, then they're going to proceed and move forward with that contingency after having reviewed that preliminary title report. For more information, feel free to click the link in this email or below, and you'll be able to see a very comprehensive, detailed report about how to review a preliminary title report and everything that's going to be included in it. All right, now we're going to go to one of my favorite local title companies, AmeriTitle, who's going to further explain exactly what a title company is, an escrow officer, and really what the process of an escrow company is. I got Brad Moore and Tasha Walery. We're here at the AmeriTitle location on Church Street, downtown Salem.
Yeah, and what we do is we insure the past of the property that you're purchasing. And so it gives you comfort knowing that it will be your home and you don't have to worry about anything. And that'll all be on a title report. And then we also do the escrow side of things, which Tasha will talk a little bit about, where she takes the money from the buyers and we hold it and then we transfer it to the sellers. And, and everything is recorded and then the home is yours.
Tash, why don't you tell us a little bit about what a buyer or seller can expect when it comes times to signing?
So once we get the file prepared, the lender says everything's good, James, you say everything looks fantastic, then we are ready to schedule a time with the buyer to come in and sign. And we're also going to talk to them about what kind of money we need. Unfortunately, we don't do cash and we don't do money orders. We don't like the green stuff and we don't like the money orders, but we love the cashier's checks and the wire transfers. My form of doing it is I kind of hit the highlights. I tell people the way I would want it explained to me.
Sure.
Because it can be overwhelming and I don't want to lose somebody because I'm telling them too much information. So I try to dumb it down and, like I said, just tell them the gist of what it is. And nobody wants to hear us talk. So we usually get people in and out. With a buyer, it usually takes about 30 to 40 minutes. With a seller, maybe 15, maybe 20.
So once they've signed, they've delivered you the funds, and then...
What next?
Yeah, what happens?
Yeah, it's a great question. So we get those documents notarized, and we're going to send them back to the lender. And we email those to them so they can do another review. Sometimes they have forgotten to send me a document. Sometimes they just don't like how the client has signed, so we might have to have them come back and re-sign something. But usually it's just a few conditions here and there that me and the lender are dealing with getting cleared up. So once we have that all kind of hammered out, then we will do what's called balancing. And that's to make sure that the amount of money that the lender wants to send me is going to be enough to clear my file and pay everybody and make it all happen. Once they balance with me, then they'll release me to record. Once we are released to record upon receipt of the wire, then we send the file to the clerk's office for recording.
They send you some sort of confirmation?
Yep, we get confirmation. Then that's when we send out an email to you guys saying, hey, everything's finalized and recorded. And then we phone call the buyers and the sellers. We try to let you guys know first because we want to actually give the hootenanny good time phone call to the buyers and the sellers.
And we got to arrange possession and keys and all of that stuff. So typically a buyer, if it's closing, let's say on the 15th, they're not going to be able to take possession until it has recorded, which is usually later in that afternoon. That's the typical possession time frame unless we've negotiated some sort of possession after closing. Most of the time it's on the actual closing date, though. And then I guess, Brad, maybe touch on a little bit post-closing. What can they expect from a title company post-closing, if anything?
Post-closing, really not a lot. We are involved in the community because we believe in giving back to where we do business and all of our operations. With the consumers, if they ever have any questions that they have about their transaction or issues, they're more than happy to give us a call back and we can answer those. We have a lot of information about property. So if you have any questions about any property, we can answer a lot of those.
Perfect. I hope you guys find this very useful and are excited for your next closing with AmeriTitle.
Yeah. Thank you, James.
Thank you, James, for inviting us.
Absolutely.